Hi. So this is just a chatty vlog to update you on things that are on my mind right now because I'm slightly overwhelmed and editing a sit down video with all these cuts and it's just too much. Because we're going back to, if you watch this video, then you know all about my journey with publication and things like that. And that is going to be the number one thing that continues to stress me out. My article just got rejected again. And I am bothered. And not bothered because whatever their feedback, whatever, it's almost never useful, honestly. But because every time that my article gets rejected, I feel an immense amount of stress and pressure to prove that I can do this. And I think a lot of times we feel like, oh, imposter syndrome. I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I'm good enough. The thing is, in my heart of hearts, because I study what I study, I know that I'm good enough. What I feel like is I don't really understand what I'm doing wrong, and I don't know how to fix it because nobody will tell me. And so I feel stressed and I feel pressure because the only way for me to figure it out or to learn it is to continuously get rejected until I figure it out. And that is slightly overwhelming for me, but that's also why I have this channel, so you don't have to go through that. I'm willing to go through that, and I cope with it because it's like, oh, well, I'll just make a video about it. But today I wanted to just, talk about these feelings because also I'm in the mix of applying for jobs, and if you are subscribed to my newsletter, there's going to be a lot more information about the job application process and things like that, and I'll make videos about that somewhere far in the future. But I'm in the process of doing that, and I'm getting invited to interviews. I'm having conversations with people, and it's like this cloud hanging above my head that I don't have publications. And deep down I feel like, oh, are they gonna figure me out? Are they gonna say something mean to me? Are they gonna hurt my feelings? And it's completely possible that that can happen, but it's also pretty unlikely. And I think this is the other part of what I'm coming to say to you all, is that in addition to feeling the pressure of having to figure it out because you genuinely just want to succeed, you want your research to be out there, you also want people to think you're smart, which is valid. There's also a pressure if you want to be an academic person, if you want to be a professor, you have to have, publications. And so I am expressing this moment of stress because I'm at an impasse. I'm struggling to get these publications. People are now asking about my CV, asking about my publications in a way they were not last year because I was not on the job market. And it's super vulnerable. But I say that to say, I don't bring this all up to just not give you advice or something to take away from this. I have talked to other people who are in the same exact situation. And the first takeaway is I didn't know other people were in the same exact situation. In my head, it felt like everybody else published as a PhD person. And for the most part, published a lot. And so I was feeling really insignificant and behind. I think a better word than insignificant. I felt just so behind because I do know a ton of people who have published. But what I realized is people who don't publish don't talk about it much. And not because necessarily they're hiding it, but because if you haven't published, why would you go around saying, hi, my name is Jacqueline and I haven't published? You know what I mean? It just wouldn't, hi, I'm Bobby, I've yet to publish. That doesn't come up. And so you may be walking around people just like you, if you have not published yet, who have not published, and that is okay. And you will be okay. People have gotten jobs, which is my second takeaway. Yes, it does make you more competitive to get jobs if you have publications on your CV. And there are a lot of different types of publications that you can have. When I say I don't have any publications, I do have book reviews. I have an exhibition critique and things like that. But I'm talking about peer-reviewed original research. I don't have that yet. And that's okay. But I bring that up to say, I also thought literally it was impossible to get a job without publications. I have been sending out my applications. I have been invited to interviews. And so, not that I've been hired, but it doesn't immediately make you ineligible. It's just about how well-rounded of a researcher you are. So with that said, yes, if you are applying to jobs, I would suggest to at the very least have an article that you have submitted and have that reflected into your CV. Even if it gets rejected, like mine, you can at least show I have something that's finished, that can be published, and I'm in this publication process. Which, if you need more information about the publication process, here's a video. I'll link it at the end so you can watch that after this. But the point is not to lie. The point is not to try to pretend you're something you're not, but to demonstrate your academic rigor as fully as possible. There are a lot of reasons why different people do and do not publish. Certain, disciplines, certain research topics are just much easier to publish. If you are somebody who works with pre-established data sets, it's probably easier for you to write articles about those data sets because you're not the one collecting the data. Versus if you're somebody who's creating your very own original data set with a huge sample size of diverse people that have different timelines and are marginalized population, that's going to take a lot longer. And so the time that it'll take for you to collect the data, then interpret the data, then write about it, is a lot longer than people who use other pre-established data sets. Or if you're a humanities person, I'm still trying to figure out how humanities people are just publishing a lot. So I don't actually have an answer for that. But I imagine if you have a topic that is, irritative, that can be reproduced in different ways, it's probably easier to publish. I don't know the word I was trying to say. Just ignore that. But there is hope. I say that to say there is hope. I am super duper stressed right now. I am slightly overwhelmed because I feel like I am being invited to jobs. I am talking to people who may be interested in me, and I feel ill prepared to actually show up to these interviews and explain myself. However, I'm not ill prepared. What has made me feel ill prepared is people that I have met throughout my PhD process that told me, you're not enough because you don't publish. Everybody publishes. What are you doing not publishing? And those words have gotten into my head. But the people who are reaching out to me have seen my CV. They've seen what I have and have not done. So they already know where I'm at. So this stress that I'm feeling is internalized from people who, honestly, I feel like don't even really care about me. And so I'm saying this one for me to process and to feel better about things. Because again, I'm just going through it. But also I want to say it in regards to if you are somebody who has just graduated, or if you're planning on graduating and you feel behind, there are steps you can take to make sure you are still successful. And even if those steps do not look like what the most exemplary, celebrated, fancy person CV or trajectory looks like, that doesn't mean you will not succeed. Yes, that probably does mean their process will be a lot simpler. They may have a lot more confidence. They may feel more comfortable, but that doesn't mean you and I are going to fail. Okay? We can do this. And that's really the point of this video, is to remind us, me and you, that we can do this. And hopefully a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, we'll have our publications, we'll have our jobs or our degrees, and we'll smile at how stressed we were because we figured it out and it's so much easier. Now, again, like I said, this whole point of this channel is to share with you what this process looks like, including into post-grad, because that's part of your academic success. And I want to be honest about these things, but I never want to breed fear into you. Just because I haven't figured it out yet doesn't mean you won't figure it out before me. Or just because I haven't figured it out yet doesn't mean that it's going to take me forever to figure it out and I won't share that with you. The whole point of this is for me to go through what I'm going through so you can go through this process with a lot less stress, a lot more confidence, and your self-esteem and self-worth intact. But a big part of publishing is knowing what the publication process is like, and that can help you feel more prepared to get published, so you should watch this video next. Thank you so much for listening to me and being here in community. I love you all so much, and I will see you next week.